Number 5. He's a musician. As a violinist and pianist, I'm enamored with his musical aptitude. Bruh, he literally blows fucking 50-ton robots off their rockers with how powerful his sound waves are. Get it? Because his name is... But people need hobbies, and there's nothing more enamoring than being passionate about music. He can play the guitar, he's good at remixes.
Why is Megatron stealing human technology? What is he attempting to build?
And he's in the best fucking band in the whole wide world. What more could he ask from him? Number 4. He's an animal lover. He likes cats, birds, and bats. There's nothing sexier than a man who loves animals. Trust me, bro, it's science. And he's not afraid to show his affection, despite being evil. He treats his cassettes with all the love and respect in the world. And if you were in a relationship with him, I guarantee that's how he would treat you. He would take you out to a movie, then treat you to the finest wining and dine of all the wines and dines in town. And after that, he would take you out to the beach, and you two would just walk alongside the seashore, just staring into each other's eyes, not afraid to show the love you two harbor for each other. And why can't I find a man like that? What I would do just to be Ravage in this photo. Number 3. His face. You had Transformers with face masks, you had Transformers with visors, but Soundwave was the first one to combine the two. He has no face. It exudes an esoteric aura, similar to Din Djarin. You want to know the man behind the mask, and you gradually get more and more drawn in. Prime took it to a whole other level, where all he had was a screen. He was fucking scary, but also kind of enticing. Freaking hell, you know why the Impurata procedure replaced your face with a mono eye instead of what Soundwave has? Because otherwise, everyone would want to have the operation done. Number 2. His sexy voice. You think Prime is the only one whose voice induces orgasms? Think again. Soundwave made sounding like a robot is sexy. His deep, slow, masculine voice, amplified by that beautiful vocoder bass, is just pure sex. It just adds to his mysteriousness and emotional restraint, and you can't help yourself but be seduced by him. And finally, number 1, he's just Soundwave, and he's enough because he's great at doing stuff. Soundwave is undoubtedly the most competent Decepticon. Other than one instance in the G1 cartoon, Megatron never insulted him, which is rare among the core cast of the Decepticons. In Prime, you would have noticed, if you paid attention, Soundwave never once failed a task personally delegated to him. Even Mr. Honor, Captain of the Seekers, couldn't live up to how fucking good this dude was at everything. And if we're to assume we're still dealing with that frozen Megatron Allspark bullshit, he, as temporary Decepticon leader, was the one who not only expelled the Autobots from Cybertron, but also managed to trap Optimus in a 50v1 scenario in the movieverse, proving that Starscream, Shockwave, Scorponok, Ratbat, and even Megatron are all inferior to him. Oh, and he's able to get all the bitches. How? How is this emotionalist blue box man able to get any girl he wants to, while I have the riz of fucking Zenitsu? Why am I so fucking alone? Well, I already know the answer, but still! Okay, that's enough messing around. Well, I wasn't joking, but alongside my newfound passion for customizing, my love for Soundwave convinced me to buy SS83 despite my reservations about the figure. Yes, the robot mode looks good, but... I thought Satellite Soundwave was embarrassing, but this would be like shitting in the office while being next to your crush. And don't twist my words, the robot mode looks good. Functionally, it's complete ass. He looks so stiff due to the hot rod style shoulders. Oh my god, Hasbro, can you just stop? And he can't utilize his waist swivel because his pelvis armor is attached to his stomach. So anytime you want to rotate the waist, you have an ugly piece of kibble just floating around in dead space. Well, I ain't having any of that nonsense. In this video, I'll be giving a mini review of SS83. I know it's as if I stole the toy, right? and showcasing my process and turning this stiff, awkward-looking dork into this hunk of a Chad. Before we begin, remember to subscribe if you liked this video. Like this video too. It lets me know what you guys want to see from me and this channel. Give me a follow on my Insta too to see teases for future projects and videos. And I'm live on Twitter too. Want to see some of my shitty opinions? Then hit that follow button there as well. All links will be in the description below.
Okay, just messing around with Soundwave for a bit. I can tell you he definitely feels much better in hand. Now my initial first impressions. Robot mode is actually quite nice. I actually really like how this looks. It just articulates terribly. The aesthetic of this figure is kind of working at 100%. It's just that the damn articulation. It's just so messed up. So messed up. Like, I hate these hot rod shoulders. This is the same problem that SS102 suffers from. And I hate this waist crotch armor. It's like, it articulates here. What's the point of the waist swivel if it doesn't even look like his waist is swiveling and it just has a giant crotch flap? Luckily, this piece is detachable, and I think we can lower this piece so that it sits right there and it just hinges from where it's actually supposed to hinge from, and that way it actually looks like he's turning his waist. And that should actually be a pretty easy mod to do. I'm surprised no one has done it yet. You're only basically moving the whole crotch section down by like a centimeter or two, so it's not going to be difficult at all to execute. Chest works fine. I haven't tried out the Ravage functionality yet, which is what I'm going to do when I start playing around with him more. I'm still going to figure out what to do with these damn hot rod shoulders. Like, he can never point his shoulder outwards because of these shoulders. Like, this is exactly why I hate hot rod shoulders. You always have to lift the shoulder up in order for... I mean, look how weird that is. No one points their gun. Look at this. This is so fucking awkward. I don't like it. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get rid of these hot rod shoulders. And I think I know how to. I'm gonna pray that it works out. Okay, I guess first order of business is to transform him into that garbage, what is called an alt mode. I don't like following the Hasbro paper instructions because they're so hard to follow. I'd much rather video reviews, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Comment if you also find Hasbro instructions to be pretty shit and you just search up video reviews on transforming your figures, or comment below if you actually try to figure out the transformations for yourselves. I don't, because I'm always worried about breaking the figure, but I know that's a thing some people on this platform do. And here we have Soundwave's, I don't even know what to call this thing. This is unforgivably bad. Like, this just makes the whole figure worse. So a transformer is supposed to be 3 things. 1, a toy robot. 2, some sort of alternate mode, which is either a vehicle mode, animal mode, whatever mode, even a toaster in some cases. And 3, it needs to be a puzzle. In those 3 categories, Soundwave only really succeeds at 1, which is the robot mode. The transformation was fucking more difficult than it needed to be. Like, these panels kept popping off. Like, look at this. It just popped off. And what is this? I know Cybertronian modes can get away with not being really anything, but sometimes I'm just saying the rule cool still has to apply. Even though this might be functionally great on Cybertron or whatever, maybe this is some sort of like attack vehicle which can basically chomp down Autobots with these white pincer things. It just doesn't look very good. Other Cybertronian cast members, they all looked really, really cool. And with Soundwave, they just fucked it up. And this is not even how it's supposed to look. If you just look at the concept art that one of their designers did, this does not resemble that at all. Like, I don't know what they were smoking, to be honest, but this is not that in any shape or form. And that vehicle mode is awesome for Soundwave. I don't know why they just didn't go with that. Like, what is this? Now, according to one of the forum members on TFW by the name of Saitama, like Saitama from One Punch Man. I watch way too much anime, as you can tell. You're supposed to be able to do a fan mode tank, which is a whole hell of a lot better than whatever this is. So I think in order to do this, we need to rotate this back, and we need to utilize this port in the front. Okay, I see. Like, I'd much rather, this is actually something tolerable. Like, we need to fill in this gap, of course, but this is a much better vehicle mode for Soundwave. Like, this basically kind of saves the figure for me. If it wasn't for this, I don't know. That's why I didn't get Soundwave on initial release, because, yeah. If I was going to buy robot mode Soundwave only, I would have bought the 3A version. But, you know, just because I'm kind of on a high right now after my custom Prime and Bumblebee, and I just really want to do the Cybertronian cast, that's why I picked up Soundwave in the first place. But I'm just telling you right now, this is probably going to be my first non-transforming custom. Like, what is the point of a transformation if what you turn into is just plain, pure fucking ass? Like, I'm not joking, this is bloody awful. Don't bother next time, Hasbro. This is basically on the same level as movie 2007 Scorponok, if you still remember that figure. Like, the robot mode on that was just basically standing up. Like, I'm sorry, but this is just embarrassing on so many levels. Ugh. The shoulder pads just annoy the shit out of me, and they keep moving around, keep popping off. I think I'm going to have to fix that, because there's already a rotational joint over here. I don't know why this needs to be rotated. Honestly, if it wasn't for the transformation, we wouldn't be stuck with these damn hot rod shoulders. Like, god damn it. Anyway, that's Soundwave. I think we should take a look at our favorite dog, who's actually supposed to be a cat. Ravage is fucking fantastic. I love this. This is so accurate to the CGI model, but then again, this is kind of privileged in the fact that it just has to transform into a box for it to fit into Soundwave. So it basically has more cut out for it. So I'm not sure how much I can really praise this. I mean, it does what it's supposed to, and you know what? That's really all I want from these SS figures. Like, as long as you look accurate, you transform, and you look good in vehicle mode. That's like all I care about. Oh, and just have good articulation. That's 4 things, and have good articulation. This, I mean, it has joints, but it is fucking awful at posing. Like, what am I supposed to do with these hot rod shoulders, this giant like waist panel? Like, I can't even bring the legs up without it looking like complete fucking ass. So yeah, it's only there to look cool and it's just to stand there, which I guess is Soundwave's whole MO, especially if we're talking about his prime incarnation. He's built, man. He's built. And I think a reviewer said this, like Vangelist, but I think the reason why he looks so stocky and so like powerful is because he has to carry a whole army inside his chest, which I think is a pretty good. I'm not sure whether it's intentional on why they made the Soundwave so chunky in the first place, but I think that's a fucking genius idea on to explain his sudden muscle growth. Like, if you had to carry 5 mini robots by yourself, I'm pretty sure that would be like a constant workout. Long story short is that this Soundwave is constantly lifting. He's a constant gym bro. You know what I mean? So here we have Ravage in his box mode, and I think this is supposed to fit Soundwave now. Like, it fits perfectly. Like, look at this. Oh, well, now it's not. Well, this toe is flipped out. But if we just do that, like, that's basically a perfect fit if I've ever seen one. So the Ravage compatibility works completely on my figure, and I don't know what. It's too bad it parts forms with these weapons, but it's understandable. This is just nostalgia bait. Like, this is just for you to pay $5 extra fucking dollars than what the toy should actually cost. Like, I do not care that this is a G1 Soundwave reference. I think we're gonna get started with the mods now. So the first step of what I think we're going to do is that we're going to unscrew this boy. Now what I want to do is to cut this part off. And we're going to do this quite carefully. Okay, I finally removed the little piece that was here, and yeah, I sanded it down a bit, but it took a lot of effort to get it off there. Like, it was much harder than I thought it would be. You can get rid of a lot of white marks just by using your fingernail and just scratching it like super fast, and the white marks will basically disappear. Like, there were white stress marks after I clipped the little tab off, but after using my fingernail for like 20 seconds, it's basically all gone, as you can see. So yeah. So the reason why I cut this off is because we're going to basically glue this. You can see this clearly. Because we're going to basically glue this onto the actual pelvis piece. Now, next order of business is, since we cut this part out, we're going to fill this in with putty. And we need to fill in the thighs as well. They're basically the only hollow parts on this figure. So it's been about 24 hours, and as you can see, the putty is fully dried. I didn't fill this section out. I'm not sure whether I want to, because I don't really want to cover up this detail. And once I paint it in gunmetal gray, I think it won't look hollow anymore. But I don't know, maybe I'll fill that in with one of these panels. I'll cut out a panel and maybe fit that in. I'm not too sure yet, I haven't decided. But yeah, legs are basically done, and his crotch piece is also basically done. As you can see, it actually acts as a waist now, so when he rotates his waist, the crotch armor doesn't go with it, which I think is a huge improvement. This basically fixes the articulation of the lower half. So, yippee. And I think the final mod we're going to do is trying to alleviate those hot rod shoulders. And my plan is to basically, well, as you can see, I disassembled the shoulder here, but my plan is basically to cut off this mushroom peg and replace it with a ball joint with an opening that goes out to the side. So this arm will be able to go 45 here. But another issue that this would pose is that the shoulder armor would remain static. Personally, that doesn't really bother me, not as much as hot rod shoulders do, but I know that it looks unnatural to some. So I think, but we're also going to get to 90, we're also going to rotate the shoulder up in the normal way, as you know, you would regularly do, but to get 90 degrees, it would sort of basically just look like this, which looks completely natural. And once we rotate this around, we can actually hold the gun out to the side at this angle. So the key to fixing hot rod shoulders is to ensure that the swivel comes before the up and down, well, basically the outward joint. If you put the outward joint before the swivel, you're always going to get hot rod shoulders no matter what. And here are my ball joints, and we're going to select the biggest ones for extra stability. Yeah, let's get to it. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm just testing out the different drill sizes, because mine is, because I don't currently have a caliper. Yeah, as you can see, the ball peg fits in perfectly. It's a snug fit. So, figure out how to get this out. Yeah. Okay, I think we can get started. So, the first step is to sadly flip this piece off. Clean off, so there's no turning back now. So I finished installing the shoulder mod, and I just kind of assembled him partially, just to show you how the figure has changed overall. So now, if you want him looking more natural instead of having his arm stock straight, we can move this ball joint a little bit out. It looks a bit more natural. And if you want 90 degrees, just you don't have to have the shoulder all the way up here where it looks so bad. You can just leave it somewhere around there, which is a lot more anatomically reasonable. So I'm very happy with how this mod turned out. Still retain the biceps roll because of the ball joint. Everything is basically the same. And with the skirt armor, it's a separate piece now, so you can rotate his chest, so it actually looks like the waist and chest area are separate pieces. So it actually looks like a waist swivel instead of a huge crotch flap thingamajig just going alongside this torso. So I think that's a huge improvement. And filled in the gaps with putty, as I said before. And now the final step is to paint him, and this shouldn't be too hard, I think. So here we have my custom SS83 Soundwave completed, as well as Ravage. I technically can't call Ravage a custom because I actually didn't touch him at all. He's basically perfect, and like surprisingly he has all the paint apps he's supposed to have, except maybe on his rockets. But you know, that's fine. I really didn't feel the need to, you know, do it, but I could always come back to this and repaint him if I ever felt like it. So yeah, it's fine. Let's just move him out of the way because there's not much to talk about him. He's a great toy. Definitely recommend him, even though he's overpriced, as evidenced by the little silver stuff he came with that was supposed to plug into Soundwave's cannon. I still hate that. That's so dumb. But yeah, let's talk about Soundwave himself. Let's just get him posed up. And you know what? After I implemented this articulation mod, like, I like him infinitely more now. Like, let's talk about what I did. So first of all, I cut off the little hinge that was on his stomach and moved it down to his pelvis where it's supposed to be. And while it does leave a slight gap here, I mean, like, the sacrifice is definitely worth it when you consider that whenever he turns his waist, it does not look, you don't have to raise this up all the time, and it doesn't go with the actual torso, so it actually looks like a separate, he actually looks like he's turning his waist, making him look much more dynamic in poses. The second mod I did was rectifying his stiffness, and that's the shoulders. Like, the original issue was that he had hot rod shoulders, and like, it's just so dumb. Like, looks terrible. If Soundwave was like a human and he was like in the Stone Ages, evolution would not be kind to this man. Like, if he needed to like do this every time he needs to point or shoot a bow and arrow, he would be fucking dead in the first day. So yeah, I just needed to fix that, and it was actually a pretty easy fix. So as you can see up here, it's a bit dark because I painted it all gunmetal gray. But I installed I cut off the little mushroom tab, shaved down some of the thickness to the actual shoulder joint, drilled a hole into the actual shoulder joint, glued a ball joint into the hole, and solidified it with putty, reinforced it with putty. Yeah, see? There you go. As you can see, it's clearer here, but the ball joints I have little sticks on the end of them, so I just drilled holes in the existing parts to make sure that the ball joints don't snap off anytime I wanted to move them. But I drilled a hole and just stuck the little stick into the arm, and yeah, works perfectly now. So now whenever you want to raise his arm, you don't have to immediately resort to the hot rod shoulders. You can first move the arm out like that, making it much more natural. And if you want 90 degrees, you can just use the existing range, and it doesn't look stupid anymore. It's much more reminiscent of the 3A version, which, you know, I love. So yeah, I know this custom is less extensive than my other ones, but to be honest, I don't really feel like there's much cosmetically that needs to be changed about Soundwave, except for his stiffness, which is not even cosmetic, it's more about dynamicism. In terms of paint, there wasn't much to touch up on, like I said before. For his faceplate, I repainted that into a white, because that's more movie accurate, and the silver was just too dark, number one, and number two, it just was too metallic. It's much more of a flat color in a movie, in the 10 seconds of screen time he got. So yeah. Then I just painted his neck area a gunmetal gray. You can't really see that clearly, so I'm not even gonna bother. The most extensive work I did were on his thighs. Like, this hip joint was entirely unpainted, even though that's technically inaccurate. So this side piece is supposed to be a white, and I kind of highlighted some details with the chrome silver just to highlight all those pulleys and wires and robotic bullshit. So yeah, and the thighs I had to make sure that it looked more movie accurate, as in it's not a giant solidified white piece. It's more like an endoskeleton with several white pieces covering it up, like as armor. So basically all I just did was leave the white panels alone and painted the outlines of gunmetal gray. And then I filled in the thighs so they don't look hollow anymore. Then for his ass, I painted it white, like in the movie, and I painted the upper sections gray to represent the endoskeleton. And for the back, just picked out some details with some gunmetal gray and some silver, just to make it more movie accurate. But in terms of, and for the arms, I had to paint some of the bicep gray to represent the endoskeleton. But yeah, there's not much in terms of paint that I had to do, in terms of color correction. So yeah, you know what? His figure is very good in robot mode. The only problem he really suffers from his stock configuration is stiffness. And as you saw, we just fixed that with lowering this down and fixing the outward movement of the shoulders. So yeah, he can actually look like a proper menace now. And as an advantage to the shoulders, you can finally get him to hold his gun like that. I love it when figures can do this. Like, it looks so natural, so badass. And this is why Soundwave is the rightful leader of the Decepticons. Like, fuck Starscream, fuck Shockwave. This is the man who should be leading the Decepticons. Like, in the short run in the Marvel Comics as Decepticon leader, he was pretty effective. So yeah, you know what? I'm a Soundwave simp, you know, and yeah, he deserves all the love in the world. He's the man of everyone's dreams. Yeah, he's just husband material. I don't know what to say, but I'm just so happy that I have a proper BBM Soundwave that doesn't look awkward as hell, and he actually can pose now. And you know what? I'm not upset that he can't transform, because what he transformed into was bullshit. Let's not taint how good this robot mode with how god-awful that vehicle mode is. So, yeah. Anyway, I can still do the transformation, it's just that I don't want it. Because technically all the articulation is there to facilitate the gymnastics he goes through to contort into that, I don't even want to call it a vehicle mode, that chicken cutlet. So, I mean, if you do these mods, don't worry about ruining the transformation if that matters to you. I'm excited to put him in the BBM shelf, taking on Prime and B. And yeah, as I always say at the end of these videos, thank you so much for the time you've graciously given to me.